based on requests of many, we're going to introduce you to some concepts that, first of all, I will require you to have a little bit of open-minded. In other words, don't say, "Oh my goodness, this is not Jewish," So we need. What are the requirements that you need to have as a Jew is to have an open mind. To be a closed-minded, a block-mind Jew, that just doesn't go. That's the complete opposite. So the reason why I chose to use those concepts outside of Judaism to show you that really exist within ourselves, within Judaism it exists. However, if I will tell you, well, the Rambam says this or Chazal said that, right away you're going to tell me, all right, I know that, no need, okay, that's boring. But if I'm going to tell you something else, knowing what, how curious you are to foreign things, you actually might listen and get your musa this way. So just listen until the end. Those concepts, most of those concepts exist within the Japanese culture. So the first concept, and of course, I said before, existed with the words of Chazal, with the Rambam and other Chachamim of our faith. The first concept is called Ikigai. Ikigai means a reason for being. What does that mean? That is a Japanese concept that's referring to something that gives a person a sense of purpose, a reason for living. Ikigai can describe having a sense of purpose in life as well as being motivated. The question is, do you live your life having this Ikigai concept in you? Do you have a reason that you feel very good? And I hate to use the word passionate, because today everybody is passionate about everything and they get passionate about nothing beside themselves. But is there a feeling that you get up in the morning and say, man, can't wait for this day to start? Or at night when you go to sleep, I can't wait to go to sleep so I can get up in the morning to do this. Is there a purpose in your life? Do you live your life with a purpose? There's a reason for your existence. And waiting for retirement is not a reason to live. If you don't have it, you'd better stop and start thinking about what will give you a sense of purpose, a sense of reason for your living, for your existence. Did you ever think about, why am I alive? What's my goal here? What am I doing here? Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring me here? As it says in the words of Rabbi Akavia ben Mahalael, Da me'ayin bata. Know where you're coming from. In other words, what's the purpose? Where are you going to? Is there a purpose in your life, or you're just living basically on a level of a sophisticated animal that is able to think, but not more than it? Because a cow or a horse does not dwell about the purpose of life. Doesn't look for meaning in their lives. And a search for meaning, yes, it's the basics for logotherapy initiated by Eric Fromm and Viktor Frankl, but it's a very Jewish concept. Is there a purpose to your life? Is there Ikigai in your life? And I would recommend you to actually take notes when you sit down with yourself, and you should watch this more than once to actually try to implement this to your life. The next concept, a Japanese concept, is the word Kaizen. Kaizen means improvement or change for the better. In other words, you need to make sure that every day, as Jonathan said yesterday, if the scariest thing is that if you are in the same position that you were last year without any change, and I said, well, if you're in if next day you're at the same place that you were yesterday, that's bad. In other words, you need to make sure that you make changes every day for the better. You improve yourself, even if it's an improvement of 1%, better today than you were yesterday. That is something to strive for. Even 1%. 1% is a lot. Believe me. If you would understand the importance of changing 1% of your life daily, in a year your change is 365%. That's an amazing amount. I mean, I wish we'll have this kind of growth, in my bank account of 365% a year. That will be amazing. So if it's hard for you to understand why should you invest, well, you think about it this way. Would you like to get a gain of 1% a day? Oh, yeah, without a doubt. How about yourself? It all comes from the outside, but when it comes to you, the answer is no. So do you have this Kaizen in you? Are you striving to make an improvement? An improvement doesn't mean I'm going to become a better person today. I'm going to become better at something today. I'm going to, argument saying, to learn Rashi better this way today. I learned one Rashi better than I did because my attitude towards it. And that really corresponds with other things that we're going to talk about. But this is a certain mindset that you better gear yourself towards. Now, that concept of Kaizen, you could really see in the tefillah that we say, Mechadesh betuvo bechol yom tamid maaseh bereshit. Every day is a renewal. Not every day is a continuation of yesterday. If every day is a continuation of yesterday, that's bad. Every day is a renewal. It also gives you a lot of hope for new things. Yesterday was bad. Today will be better. Even if it's better 1%. Even if it's better 0.1%. 0.1%. That's also already an improvement. Mechadesh betuvo bechol yom tamid maaseh bereshit. You want to be like a tzelem Elokim, in the image of God. That means you're going to create a new reality for yourself. There's going to be a better reality today than was yesterday. And again, small increment improvements. If you look at this, again, if you're going to look at small increment improvement, that you improve yourself today 1%, at the end of the day you improve yourself, at the end of the year 365%. That's a lot of improvement. That's a lot of improvement. Now the problem with those concepts is that you actually need to go in and keep a diary in terms of like, where am I? What am I doing? Have I done today? And we do this, and supposedly do this at the end of the day, before you say Kriyat Shema Amita, you sit down and you need to take an inventory of what happened to you today. Chatati, aviti, pashati. This is not just like banging on yourself, making more room for nonsense to come in. Chatati, aviti, pashati also means not only did I sin also against myself. Pashati, against myself. I lost time. Today wasn't a good day. I wasted time. Well, you know what? I give account for that. That's the purpose of before you go to sleep, you need to take an inventory. Just like if you had a business. That's why not everybody is a good businessman. A good businessman, at the end of the day, before he closes the shop, he takes a printout of what he sold today, what he didn't sell today, what he ordered, and he wants to make sure that he made a profit today. If not, what's the purpose? If not, why should I come in tomorrow? Let me fix it because I need to make money. How much did you sell? What was your profit margin on that? Did you do that? You didn't do it. Well, if you don't run your life like a business, you're going to fail just like many businesses do. Okay. The other concept, which we said before, it's the Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique was developed by Francesco Cirillo in the late 1980, where he uses a kitchen timer to break work into intervals, okay, which is very important. Usually they're about 25% intervals in length, and those intervals were separated by short breaks. And each interval is known as a pomodoro, which is an Italian word for tomato, because the timer that he used was in a tomato shape. So that's why they use it. So, and that concept was divided into 6 different steps. There were 6 different steps. Step number 1. Decide on the task to be done. You need to make it, say, I'm going to do college work now. I'm going to sit down and learn the Daf of Gemara. You need to think about what you're going to do, and you need to make a decision about what you're going to do. You need to know, I committed myself to do this. That's what I'm doing, right? So after you made a decision, a conscious decision of what you need to do, number 2 is set your timer for about 25 minutes. And then stage number 3 is work on that task for 25 minutes without a break. At the end of work, when the timer rings, you should take a short break of about 5 to 10 minutes. And then stage number 5 is go back to stage 2 and repeat it until you complete all your 4 pomodoros, your 4 cycles. Now, the issue is like this. You'll tell me, well, Rabbi, I'm going to stop every 20, 25 minutes for 5 minutes? I mean, that's in a way not productive. I'm going to tell you it's very productive, because most of you, if you're lucky, you work for 5 minutes and rest for 20. How about we'll reverse it? most of you just do nothing. Sit down in front of your telephone, looking at your Instagram or your TikTok or whatever, waste of time that you do, just wasting your time. The time goes by, it doesn't come back. Time does not come back. Time is worse than money. Money you can make. Time you cannot make. A minute that is gone is a minute gone. It's never going to come back. You better give an account to that. You better give an account. By the way, this is why most people don't know how to manage their finances, because they don't manage their time. Tell me how you manage finances and I'll tell you how you waste your life, or you actually make something out of your life. You got to have a budget. You got to know exactly where every penny that you're making is going. And then you need to allocate your funds according to that. And I'll tell you another trick to have good finances: live below your means. Never be entitled. If you can only afford this, you're going to go a little less than that. But if you're only making this, you cannot live expenses like that, because then you're going to go into an overdraft and you're going to go into a mud. And you're not going to come out of it because you don't have the skills, nor the ability, nor anybody to pull you out of the mud. Now you're even worse when it comes to time. It's worse. Time is money. Time is worse than money. It's a higher commodity than money. It doesn't come back. So you got to give an account for every minute. You don't know how to do it? Make a spreadsheet, divide it into 15-minute increments or 20-minute increments for 24 hours. You fill every slot with what activity you're going to do. You'll see that you have more time in your hand than you ever thought. When it comes to finances, it's like this: live like nobody else so you can live like nobody else. Today you're going to live below your means, and at the time when it's time for you to retire, you're actually going to be able to have life, not like those people who cannot afford to go on retirement because they spent all the money when they had it, because they felt entitled. The step number 6 is, after all the cycles are done, take a long break of 20 to 30 minutes instead of one short break, and once the long break is finished, return to step number 2. And all of a sudden you're going to find yourself very productive in what you do. And that goes through to learning, to college work, or anything else that you do like that. The next concept is Hara Hachi Bo. Hara Hachi Bo is basically a way to instruct people how to eat. Well, we have it by the Rambam. The Rambam says, Kechal kede reva misviato. Now, reva misviato, either leave to the side a quarter of what you usually eat. So, for example, if you take a whole entire plate, divide it into 4 parts, one portion you leave to the side, and then eat the other 3/4. Or some people say, no, just the other way around. Take the whole entire plate of what usually you eat only a quarter of what you used to eat. So the Hara Hachi Bo is a Japanese phrase that translates eat until you are 80 parts. In other words, 80 parts out of 10 full. It basically means eat 80% of your belly capacity. Now, if you want to measure your belly capacity, your stomach capacity, look at your hands. This is the size of your stomach. Put that on your plate, eat 80% of that. Whatever fits, it fits. So I can tell you something else. You want to be healthier, you want to lose weight, you want to be much better, eat less quantity and eat better. No, eat better quantity and eat less quantity and eat more quality. Eat better food. Stay away from any mass-produced food. Any cookie bowl, factory bowl cookies, stay away. Anything that is processed, stay away. Soft drinks, Coca-Cola, all that other stuff, stay away. Stay away. Instead of having a cookie, have a piece of watermelon. Watermelon is good for you. You want to have something, eat a piece of fruit. Don't eat processed food. Eat less. Eat smaller meals in between so you're not going to feel so hungry and all of a sudden you explode. You don't think that works? I'm going to tell you, you're absolutely allowed to, and no problem I have if you don't believe me. But go to Okinawa, where they have the greatest centennials over there, the greatest percentage of 100+ years people, and what they do is that's how they eat. Go argue with them. They eat less, they exercise, they work hard, and they're healthy. They don't have processed food. As soon as you're into this processed food, that's basically bad. And this is This is when that will help you reduce your body mass index, your BMI, increase your longevity, and even helps you with other things like dementia and so on and so forth by elderly people. Of course, if your life is meaningless, there's no point of you living longer. I hear that, but let's go back to step one, to prevent this. So this is all connected to one to another. The other concept is called Shin, or whatever it's called, something of that sort, which is a Japanese Zen Buddhism concept that means the beginner's mind. Beginner's mind is the problem we have. We think we know it all. We are extremely shallow people. Extremely shallow. We don't want to develop any depth in anything. We listen to a guy talking on YouTube for 5 minutes, we became expert on everything. The bottom line is you are so shallow, you are like, I don't know, you're scraping the surface, there's nothing there. But you think you know it all. When you have the beginner's mind, you come into every test, it doesn't make a difference. You come into it as new. It's like the first time you did it. And Chazal tells us the same thing. En domeh. It's not the same thing if a person learned 100 times to a person learned 101 times. Why? Because the person that learned 101 times, okay, so I'll learn it 100 times. But this time I'm going to see better. I'm going to understand things better. Things are going to be better for me. Since things are going to be better for me, I'm going to learn it again. I'm not going to be very lethargic about my learning. I'm not going to be very lethargic about learning something new. Because whatever you do, you are not the same person that you were yesterday. And if you're not the same person as you were yesterday, so today you could do it better than something else. So every task that you're about to do, now especially for you guys when you're learning Gemara, you might learn the Gemara, I don't know, 2 times, 3 times, the same Gemara. But if you go to it again, and if you have this mindset, all of a sudden you're going to say, oh wow, this I didn't see it beforehand. And I told you before, there are certain Masechtot that I learned 7, 8, 10 times, and every time I go with the same excitement as the first time, and I always find something new. I understand things different. I find things that I didn't see beforehand, because I'm not the person that was 10, 20, 30 years ago. Different understanding. So have this, what we call beginner's mind, which really having an attitude of openness. And that's why I told you. The problem is we are very set in our ways, and we're very set in our ways because we are very weak. We're weak and we don't have confidence. If you're weak in confidence, you're becoming closed-minded. As a Jew, you cannot be weak and incompetent. You need to be confident. You need to be confident in what you're doing. And you need to have an open mind. One of the manifestations of loving a person is being willing to listen to the person. And in order to listen to a person, you need to have an openness. Even if you don't agree to what they say. You need to have that openness to understand that. So, when you have this openness and the eagerness and lack of preconception about what, oh, I know what you're going to say. People who are therapists sometimes have this burnout. Before you finish what to say, what's your problem, they already know what the problem is. Or a doctor to that matter, or to that matter a rabbi, or anybody. Let them say the whole entire thing. Don't come with predetermined notions about what the person it is or what it is. You already know it. So especially when it comes to studying, even on a very advanced level, you should come with a complete openness, and that will show your level of confidence in who you are and your knowledge. Just as much as a beginner would. A beginner comes with that excitement, you should have that excitement. Even the Baal Shem Tov comes. And by the way, this goes even the same thing to davening, to praying. When you pray, you think, I know it all, I said it all, and so on and so forth. The Baal Shem Tov said, I wish I had the attitude of praying like a child with this excitement. Because a child, for him, everything is new. For us, it's not. When were you excited to put your tefillin on in the morning? If you're not excited to put your tefillin on in the morning, stop 1 second and think about what are you doing? What happened? How did you get to this situation that you are right now? Or to pray. Oh goodness, I gotta daven mincha now. Oof, again. Okay, what do you want to tell you? You don't have to daven mincha, not a problem. How about I'll kill you now? How about you're going to end up your life? We're going to pull the plug on you. Oh, no. If your life will be determined on the level of kavanah, or in your prayer, Habibi, you're gonna pray like a Baba Tzali. I always said if you had a person shoot, the Chazal tells us you should think like there's a sword on your neck. If there will be a samurai sitting behind you with a katana like this, one deviation of your kavana, you're gonna chop your head off with one movement, with one strike. Pow! Cut your head. And say, okay, let's see how you daven now. You're gonna daven with the great thing. Guys, we don't need a sword of our necks. You just need to have a gratitude that you were giving a chance to pray. Don't look at this, oh, I davened already, why do I have to daven again? In other words, what I'm going to tell you is, your attitude sucks. And why is that? Most of the time is because nobody ever told you about those things. But somebody should. They could tell you, Rabbi, that's Japanese. I don't really care. That'll get the job doing. That will make you become a better Jew. It will let it become a better Jew. We cannot be afraid, oh, this is this, by labeling. When you start labeling things, I'm going to tell you, you're a weak person. Have no labeling. Accept things. Look at how they are. When you meet a person, you're excited to meet a person. Be very excited to meet, even if you know him already for 50 years and you see him every single day. By the way, you think it's going to be any different when you're going to get married? Why do you think so many people get divorced? They get bored. They lost that excitement of being married to that person. Oh man, that person again. Oh my goodness. What's wrong with you? Now the practice of this attitude, of what we call the beginner's mind, or in Japanese the Shin, is really to counter the habits of being closed-minded, which is always many times associated with thinking oneself as an expert. You think you know it all. You think you know it all, so I don't have to learn. You need to learn all the time until you're dead. Always, you have to learn. Why? Because the only ones who don't have to learn are the dead. They cannot improve themselves. So you're going to come with a beginner's mind. You're going to apply this habits to you, and that's going to really help you to become actually better. Most people are not willing to put an effort into anything. Most people are not willing to put effort into anything. And that's the concept in Chinese culture, the concept of Kung Fu and so on and so forth, which is, Kung Fu does not mean martial arts. Kung Fu means dedicating yourself to a task over a long period of time. To take something and to get up every morning, and that doesn't make a difference what it is. All those people who are great at what they are, like for example Jiro, who makes sushi in a downtown Tokyo in a subway station somewhere. Yes, it's not like the subway station in New York, thank God. Unfortunately, I mean, because New York subway station, is New York subway station, is considered to be the best in the world. It's a guy that the meal by him takes 20 minutes, gives you 18 different serving of sushi, and he has 3 Michelin stars, and you have to wait about 2 years. They took the Michelin star for him because you have to wait 2 years in line. And why is that? Because he said, at the day that I decided to become a chef, I decided that I'm going to become better at it every single day. Dedicate, that's the only thing I do. Now you're in the summer, which is the perfect time. You have all the time in the world to stop making the excuses and to actually take something and become good. It doesn't make a difference what it is. You want to take, I don't know what, you want to take, making wooden spoons, whatever, carving spoons, go ahead. You want to become good at, learning karate, go ahead. You want to learn ballet, go ahead. I don't care what you learn. You want to learn a language, go. How about dedicate your summer to learning a language? Take Duolingo and start learning a language every single day. I'm not saying learn, Mandarin or Cantonese, whatever. If you want to, go ahead. Please be my guest. But I'm saying learn Spanish, for crying out loud. Very practical in America. You want to learn Chinese, go learn Chinese. You want to learn Japanese, learn something. Dedicate this whole entire 2 months that you have, at least an hour or 2 a day for something that you haven't done before that would allow you to become better than anybody else. Before you know, in the summer, you can have a conversation with somebody in Spanish. Or you can make better wooden spoons. Dedicate an hour or 2 a day just to do something, to learn something new. With that excitement of beginner life, try to now take this and implement this into something else. Whether it's painting, you want to learn painting, go learn painting, sculpture, whatever you want to do. You want to learn pottery, go learn. I don't care, gardening, whatever. But dedicate the time to become good at something. And after you did this over the summer, continue this for about 3 years and that thing only. Don't do, okay, today I'm doing judo, tomorrow I'm doing karate, then I'm doing tai chi, then I'm doing... No, take something, stick with it all the time. I remember one time I went to one of my Chinese teachers, and they said, okay, I said, I learned this form, and I want to learn that form, and I want to learn Yang Tai Chi, and I want to learn Chang Tai Chi, and Wu, and Sun, and this sort. And that teacher said to me, well, that's very, what is it like? He said, it's like building a city, starting the first floor, and then moving on to the next building continuous, and never finishing the building. It's going to be an ugly city. Take something and just stick to it. One thing. Well, that opened my mind and it changed my ways. Yes, sometimes I still want to learn other stuff, but I said, no, I try to become the best that I can. Doesn't mean that I'm going to become the best in the world. I want to become the best that I can. And that's the greatest competition that I have out there, the best that I can every single day in that. So if I'll just do Yang Tai Chi, well, that's what I'm going to do. Is it effective in the street? We're not talking about this. That's already shallow talk. We are talking about here the attitude of dedicating yourself for a long time. I've been doing martial arts since 1985. That's a lot of years down the road. Is there anything in your life that you said, I dedicated my life all the time to become better in this one thing? So you could say, I'm an expert. You could be an expert in carving wooden spoons, but for crying out loud, become an expert at something. That skill, that attitude will help you throughout your life. And the other concept is, of course, there's so many different concepts. Concept is wabi-sabi. Wabi-sabi is to learn an appreciation, I love this, for the imperfect. Not everything has to be perfect. There's beauty in old, worn stuff, in people that are old, in old furniture, in old doors, in old stuff, and it does not have to be perfect, because our attitude is, well, if it's not perfect, and I'm not doing it. But there's beauty also in the imperfection. And that concept of wabi-sabi would ultimately help you to love yourselves, but truly love yourself, not selfishly, to really appreciate who you are, because we are not perfect. And if I learn to live with my imperfections, I would say accept them, and of course try to improve on them, but realizing that I will never become perfect, ultimately they will help me accept other people and their imperfections and be able to actually form a better quality of life. If you want to look further into this, I'm sure you can do your own searches and so on and so forth. But the concept of wabi-sabi for me is amazing. It goes into Japanese art, into the tea ceremony. And by the way, understanding the wabi-sabi and accepting the imperfection and learning how to, first of all, be in harmony with them would also help you to develop tools and somewhat of an immunity and ability to deal with maybe one of the biggest problems in our generation is the increased anxiety. So for us, right away, they're going to give you some medication for anxiety. But before we go into the medication, before it becomes a disorder, when you have an anxiety, let's learn how to deal with that. And yes, you need somebody to guide you, and if you can't, you can maybe guide yourself, but you need a lot of work. But learn how to, and you can write down your imperfection, you can write down your things that are not so good, whether it's your body or whether it's your attitude and so on and so forth, and try to improve on it, but accept the beauty in it. If everything was beautiful, it will be very boring. But you should know the beauty exists in everything. And if you haven't seen it, it's not because it's not there. It's just because you just didn't see it. Have a great day.